Hey Bomb Squad, Dan here. Have you been thinking about starting a podcast but you don't know where to begin? Are you completely clueless? Are you completely lost? If so, you're in luck because I have the solution for you. It's Anchor by Spotify, the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. We use it, and you should too. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and start your podcast today. You can still die of secondhand smoke. That's what's coming up on The Art of Bombing, episode 258.
My friend Dan, he's got a podcast, 'cause all comics need a podcast, and nobody had a podcast called The Art of Bombing. So Dan went out and bought a tape deck. Who knows why he bought a tape deck? Podcasts don't get played on tape decks, but Dan is from the 80s. So hey there, all you funny jerks, come talk to Dan about your work. Tell him all about your worst times. It's The Art of Bombing.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Art of Bombing. I am your host, Dan Bublitz Jr., and with me most of the time, as we have found out that it is not all the time, is my co-host, co-producer, co-host, Mr. Josh Shirley. How are you?
Good, man. I'm always with you, Dan.
Yes, you're right. Even in spirit.
In spirit. Hey, I had a question for you. You seen that movie, Love Actually?
You know, I probably, but it's been so long. That's the one with Hugh Grant, right?
That's right. It's with everybody.
But he's one of the people.
That's right. And it's, sort of intertwining love stories through the Christmas thing. So it's getting close to Christmas time. My wife and I like to bust out the Christmas movies.
Ooh.
I saw that movie before I had kids. And for those of you who are familiar with the movie, you'll recognize that in the movie, there is a Christmas program at the kid's school. And the kid in the movie is about the same age as the kid that I have now. He's about 10. And like the parents go to see the show, and it is just amazing. Lights, production quality, like the daughter of an American, pop singer icon is like leading the charge with some brand new hit from Mariah Carey at the time called All I Want for Christmas Is You. Everybody's heard it. People are probably hearing it right now. So that's like the sort of like launching ground for that song was that movie. Like that's kind of where
that's kind of what helped launch it.
Right. But where the movie, like where the song appears in the movie is this Christmas program that's put on with these kids, and there's coordinated dancing. Everybody's playing an instrument. Like the kid in the movie learns the drums to impress the girl who's singing the song. All right. That movie disproportionately affected my expectations for my son's Christmas program. Like the reality that awaited me last week when I went to see his like 4th grade Christmas program was just completely not. So I didn't hear a single. Is what
they put you up too many expectations is what happened there.
Yeah, I was like, dude,
you're like, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
we're gonna be so proud of our kids.
And the lights come out. Like the dancers all sort of come out on stage and start doing this. Lights come on, like Mariah Carey. Like there's going to be a #1 charting single that we're going to hear before everybody else, right here at St. Paul's. And so that's what I kind of walked in with. I think that movie did a lot of parents wrong.
It may very well have been. I mean, I'm one of the smart ones. I don't have kids, so that's what I did. I just didn't have them.
You are
But
very
talking about Christmas movies, I mean, that's a good topic. It is the holidays. We got the holidays coming up. Christmas is right around the corner. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Dude,
Everybody's talking about that.
That's such a great question.
It is. And, and as the years go by, it seems like there's a lot of good choices. Like, because every year they come out with new Christmas movies. And some become classics. Some are just absolute trash, Yeah,
but they're really trying to sort of add to the catalog, which they should be, because there was I feel like a long time, because I came up around Love Actually and Elf. And a lot of these movies from the early 2000s were kind of my formative Christmas jam. But I think my favorite of all time is It's a Wonderful Life. And obviously Christmas Story. And I'm saying stuff that's on everybody's list. So let me give you this.
No, that's fine. My favorite, one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies is Elf.
Yeah, because it's so amazing.
It's so good.
And
also Eight Crazy Nights. Those are my two favorite.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, but go. Yeah.
Can I give you one you probably haven't seen, and our audience probably hasn't seen, that you can go see right now? I think it's on Netflix. If it's not, then just find it. Do you have a computer? And watch it. It's called 8-Bit Christmas. Dude, I just planned the rest of your night, Dan.
You might have.
I go look it up. Yeah. So Neil Patrick Harris.
Yep.
Okay. Narrates.
Oh,
a la Wonder Years style. When I was a kid in the 80s, goes back. The whole movie takes place, back in time, in the late 80s, when none other than Nintendo Entertainment System ruled the toy landscape.
Yep.
And there's a whole I won't ruin it for anybody, but there's a kid in the neighborhood who has one, and he'll only let some kids come and play it and on his terms, and he's this neighborhood overlord, and he's a jackass.
I didn't know somebody did a biopic about me.
Yeah, this is that's why I need you to watch this movie, dude. You will learn the true meaning of Christmas through. I
didn't realize somebody wrote a biopic about my life.
Yeah, dude. It follows the template set forth in the Christmas Story. So it's got that kind of sort of dramatic action curve to it, right?
Yep.
But so it has the hardworking dad who doesn't have time for any of this, but really does care, and the mom who's in it with the kid all the time.
Has all the ingredients.
But take out the Red Ryder BB gun and replace it with an NES 87.
Oh, I'm there. Model. I'm there.
And there's a whole kids heist to try to get one, and it's got an 80s soundtrack with
all right, I definitely have to check that out. 8-Bit Christmas. Oh man,
8-Bit Christmas, dude.
Speaking of though, you mentioned Christmas Story. A Christmas Story. Have you watched the sequel? There's a sequel out now. It just came out this year. I'm interested. I'm kind of interested to see what they do with it.
All right, you guys, if you're listening to this and you've seen it, put it in the Facebook group. Put it on our Facebook.
Put it in the Facebook group. Let's talk about Christmas movies.
Yeah, talk about Christmas movies. Tell us your favorite Christmas movie,
and especially the comical ones. Your favorite, Christmas comedies.
Yeah,
and why, why you think they're funny and what was good about them. Like I said, Elf has always been one of my favorites, and I think part of it, obviously Will Ferrell's hilarious, and he does such a good job of playing a dumb character, but sincere. He's very good at being dumb and sincere at the same time. Most of his characters, that's what he plays, dumb and sincere, and he's just so good. But truth be told, one of the main reasons I really like that movie is because I've always had a big crush on Zooey Deschanel, and she just crushes in that movie.
She's still got it.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, she's still there. She has an amazing voice. Her music's amazing.
That's not what I'm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because she's in a band. She, him, or him, her, or whatever it is. He, her, he, she. Something. One of them. I don't remember.
That's the name of the band, or
yes.
Or
yeah. Okay. It's he. It's she, him, or
she, her.
She, her. No. Because it's a him and her. Okay. So there's two of them. It's her and then somebody else, and it's he, she, or he, her. Or something. I don't remember the exact name of their group, but their music's really good. They do a lot. In fact, I'm pretty sure they did a Christmas album, so they've done like a Christmas album and stuff like that. So yeah, go check that out.
All right. I'm surprised you didn't personally tell me about that, but that's all right.
Hey, man, I'm sorry. I thought everybody knew because she's amazing.
Yes, she is.
She's amazing. Well, speaking of Christmas coming up, this is a good time to do an announcement that we will be taking a holiday break. I think we deserved it. We've been putting out episodes almost every week for the last year ish. Yeah, I mean, we put out a lot of content this last year. We put out some videos. We put out podcasts. We've done bonus podcasts. We put out, we did some Between Bombs. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we put out this last year. And
yeah,
I think
we rocked.
We did.
We had a great year.
I think we deserve to take a break.
I think so too.
So we're going to do that. We're going to take a break, and we're going to enjoy the holidays with our families. But don't worry, we're still working behind the scenes. We're not going to be completely shut down. We're just not going to be releasing episodes for a month. So we've already got a couple episodes in the bank for season 7, which will premiere January 13th, 2023. That's when we'll be back. So in the meantime, if you don't want to, hang out with your family, or if you want something to do while you're hanging out with your family, put your earbuds in and get caught up on the art of bombing. You've got a month to get caught up. So if you're behind, this is the time to get caught up, because we're not going to be putting out episodes for a month. So do that. Listen to all the great episodes that are already out that came out this year. And and then January 13th, we'll be back with season 7. And again, we've got some great episodes coming up in season 7 because we've already got them in the bank.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, in the bank. And speaking, another thing with Christmas, I have some holiday shows coming up. If you're listening to this on the day that this podcast comes out, which is Friday, December 16th, I will be at the Big Beaver Brewing in Loveland, Colorado. I've got my Ugly Christmas comedy show that I'm producing. I got just a great stack of comics that are going to be on that show. It's an ugly Christmas sweater. We're going to have an ugly Christmas sweater contest as well. So if you're in Loveland, Colorado, or the surrounding areas, I encourage you to come out to that. And if you're in my hometown of Huron, South Dakota, I'm doing a holiday show in Huron. I haven't performed a full hour in Huron for years. So this is the first time I've headlined in Huron in probably at least 5 or 6 years. So come to that show. That's going to be a great show as well. I got a couple of my buddies that are going to be on it. Lee Bruns is going to be on it. And then I got John Boone, both great comics who live in South Dakota, going to be on the show. It's at Top Floor Events. You can get tickets for both of those shows at blitzedentertainment.com. So come see me. Those are my last 2 shows of the year, too. The December 22nd show is my last show of the year. Then I won't be doing comedy until next year. I'm done till next year.
Yeah,
done with everything till next year. Retired till next year.
Hanging up the cleats. Yeah, that's fun. I got some corporate comedy stuff coming up. I'm not going to announce it because the people who are going to be at that probably don't listen to this.
And it won't matter because the people who do listen to this can't go.
That's another reason. It's just somebody's gonna just wake up and be like, "Oh, there's a comedy show at this." That's what people are.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, "Wait,
right.
what? There's comedy?" But we have.
Hey, you know what? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we have a great episode today. This is the final installment. This is final installment from the Plano Comedy Festival. I recorded a whole bunch while I was there, and this is the last one that was recorded at the Plano Comedy Festival
nice.
Earlier this year. So,
yeah, great run.
Yeah, it was a great run. It's a great episode. Great comic, Dewayne White, a fantastic comic from the D.C. area, the Washington, D.C. area. We had a great conversation, had a lot of great things to say.
Yeah. One of the things that gets into in this that I thought was really worth plucking out for everybody to sort of highlight is the idea, as a comic. I guess a question for you, Dan. What do you think? Like, I write bits down to the syllable because I gotta get it right so that it's funny. I think all comics work their stuff to that level when they have funny stuff. But how do you do that and leave enough space in the enjoyment of the telling of the joke for new things to come to you, like a layer of kind of spontaneity so that the joke can be improved? Because when I look back, I'm like, I got a lot of lines that are in there that I just kind of went out within the construction of the joke and said on stage that are still in it. So what do you think?
Well, I don't know. Do you think do you think it's a matter of leaving room like while you're on stage, or is it more of keeping an open mind that a joke never truly is finished?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because I always look at it like I never think a joke. I'm always tinkering. And when I say that I'm, always tinkering, it's not that I'm like, oh, I got this really good joke. Can I make it better? Maybe not, but there's other ways of like building onto it or adding to it. So I always try to keep my mind open with jokes and evolving, because sometimes a joke, you go through a phase in life and you tell a joke, you're doing a particular bit or whatever, and it's doing really well. And then something in your life changes, and then that bit isn't necessarily accurate to where you are in life, but
yeah.
So it's not hitting the same as it used to. Maybe it's because of the way you're telling it, because it doesn't seem to be your truth anymore. But then you're able to mold it, evolve it to fit whatever your current life situation is.
Right.
And I think an example of that would be like with relationship jokes. Like you might have, there's a lot of people go through multiple relationships, especially when it comes to being in comedy and trying to
right.
to have a relationship, where you might be writing jokes about your current partner, and then, you break up, and then you're not quite doing them jokes, and then you get another relationship, and you kind of mold those jokes into that current relationship or something. Right. So I think that's part of it. But I think you should, yeah. I think being scripted is another thing that you can make. You kind of make a mistake with where you take away from that spontaneity, like you're talking about. If you have to say everything word for word, and you're pretty much memorizing like a movie script. And that's how I used to be as a comedian. I used to be very scripted. Like I just say everything word for word. And if I didn't say it word for word, then I thought I was doing terrible. And then as I got better at comedy, I realized, oh, no. You don't have to say it exactly the same time or the same way every time. I mean, obviously you have to say it in a similar way to where
it preserve the economy of the wording at least. Yeah. So that it's not overworded.
Well, not just that, but also so you're hitting your beats to get your laughs. You know what I mean? Like because sometimes if you say a joke totally wrong, it messes up your timing, and then you don't get the laughs where you're supposed to get the laughs. So like you can use similar verbiage, but it's still got to have the timing and everything down. Otherwise that could screw it up. But I think leaving room for that and not being scripted, just going up with, this is the basis of the joke. As long as I say it similar to, X plus Y, I will get Z.
Got it. This is great, man. Let's get into this thing. Dewayne White.
Yeah. All right. Here's our conversation. Enjoy. Hey, Bomb Squad, Dan here, and I wanted to let you know that we've completely overhauled the Art of Bombing Patreon page. We've made some changes, improvements, and added some cool new perks that we think you'll enjoy, such as early access to new episodes. They're going to be ad-free, host-free. They get right to the conversation. Another cool perk that we've added are re-released episodes. That's right, every week we're re-releasing a new old episode of the podcast. Right now on the Patreon feed, you can get episodes 1 through 9, and every week we're going to be re-releasing a new old episode. Another cool perk that we're going to be providing are resources, comedy resources such as email templates, checklists, and all kinds of fun stuff that are going to be coming from the Between Bombs series. We're going to be doing monthly and quarterly Q&As, and hangs, so you're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Patreon page, subscribe now. It's patreon.com/artofbombingpod and sign up right now.
And now, it's time for the stand-up soundbite.
I was in the Army for a long time. The Army's a weird freaking place. Dude, it's not, I remember day one, we get off the bus, they're like, hey, get in line. I'm like, but because we're still good humans, we left space. They're not having that crap. No, because they're like, hey, tighten that up. I'm sorry, what? I know those words, but in that order, they don't make sense. And he's like, tighten it up, get nut to butt. I'm sorry, what did you say right now? What? You can't say that anymore. You can't say get nut to butt. You can't do that because it's integrated. Females and males. You got to say like get lips to hips or whatever. But they did. They're like tighten it up, get nut to butt. Then they said make your buddy smile. What the heck did you just ask me to do? This is pre-don't ask, don't tell. I'm like, what are you doing? No, you can't ask me to do that. This is stupid. Tighten it up, get nut to butt, make your buddy smile. And then they march you off to your very first briefing to explain to you that sexual harassment is wrong.
It's the art of bombing.
I haven't heard it yet. I could lie to you and be like, "It's
I don't want you to
all the time."
That's not the point. The point is, because then you're not familiar with the format, which is fine. Because I do a separate intro, so I'm just going to start talking.
Oh,
to
okay.
you.
Yeah,
that's why I like to ask.
Well, yeah.
Because
hey, who are you? Hey, what's
exactly.
up? I'm
I'm
glad
not
to be
going to
here.
intro you. I'm just going to start talking to you. We're going to start going right into it. So then, like 10 minutes from now, you don't have to be like, "Are we recording?"
I thought we were just bullshit.
Are we starting?
Can you delete that thing I said so the government doesn't come after me, please?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought we were good.
Well, we are recording, so
Sweet. Well, here we are.
We're recording now, so don't say anything you don't want on tape because now it's there. This is like a gotcha podcast, you know.
Sweet,
it's a trap. I just have to.
I thought when I walked into a hotel room, I was like, "Where's Chris Hansen?" God,
right? Like it's very skeevy. You're like, I'm gonna do a podcast in a hotel room.
How'd you end your career, Dad?
Floor?
This is I went into a Holiday Inn Express, and next thing you know.
I got catfished by a comic. I thought I was going to a podcast. Turns out,
Comics catfish.
Turns out he was 12 and Chris Hansen was waiting.
I thought I texted him. I was I was protecting him from pedophiles. They're all so concerned. I love it.
Welcome to Gotcha, the podcast where we get you.
That's a hell of a way to get time at the festival. Hey, Dwayne's not coming. He's in jail, so I'll fill his time.
My plan. That's just how I get more stage time. I'm just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trap all these comics.
Whatever you have to do to get more stage time.
They're just going to disappear, and then I'm going to be like, hey, I'm here.
I'm ready to go.
I don't know where Dwayne is. I don't know why he didn't come.
That would suck, man. I go to Iraq twice. I end up tied up and dying in a hotel room in Plano, Texas. That would be
funny for if somebody did something like that, like if they were tricking people so they didn't make it to their shows. Like, what a way to try to get stage time. They're just like somehow like convince them that they need to do something or whatever, trap them. They're like just got them in like a cage or something, but not to like just till the weekend. Then they let them go.
This is like a Disney movie plot. This is what this is now. We need to pitch this to Disney.
Yeah.
Hey, Disney, I got a great idea for you.
So there's a stand-up comedian. And,
so Andrew Dice Clay gets kidnapped in Plano, Texas. That would be awesome.
But keep listening. It's not so he gets kidnapped, but it's by some other comedians.
So that makes it okay.
Yes.
That's the law.
Yes,
A comedian can kidnap another comedian.
So they
otherwise
can
it's a
steal
felony.
the show.
Like, this is my break. This is my big break. I'm going to make it.
You can call it the show stealer.
The Time Whisperer.
Oh my God, that would be pretty hilarious. I was funny. I was at Flagstaff for the Just Another Comedy Festival
a couple weeks ago, and one of the comics, he knew, I forget, his name was Matt, and then there was another comic, and that other comic drink a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got a reputation for getting a little crazy now and again, and Matt was like, I kind of want to get him drunk and try to get him to miss this show so I can take his spots.
That's how it starts. That's how you end up on Netflix, kids. That's how you do it. Just get other
that's
comics.
how you get that.
You could just roofie them too, I guess. Just walking around dropping Ambien in comics drinks.
Just for the only reason is not to take advantage of them, just to get their spot.
Yeah, I don't want anything but stage time. That's all. It's a cutthroat business, ladies and gentlemen.
I just need you to take a nap for the night.
For a day. For a day or two. That's awesome. I love it. I think we found a new movie plot. This is
right. I think we are onto something.
I think we got it right here.
So if you're listening, we've got intellectual rights because
we're copywriting this right now.
That's right.
It is whatever day, the 13th of October, 2000. Let's say 2021, just to give ourselves a year buffer.
Yeah, right.
Because somebody's listening, he said 2021. I'm like, nope. There's a reason. There's a reason. Somebody's out there. You're gonna get a comment. You're it's 2022. Dan, what are you doing?
Wow, when did they record this? Well,
his editing process takes forever.
It does. I mean, originally we were supposed to be here for the Plano Comedy Festival last year.
True.
Anyway,
that is a fact. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Technically, this was supposed to take place last year.
Yeah, I totally forgot that. Yeah, I was like, this is because COVID was spiking back up in October, and they're just shut it down. Yeah, which is too bad because I don't know. I'll be honest, I did the virtual one. I don't know if you did the virtual one 2 years ago.
I don't know.
But dude, they did a great job. I mean, it was a great, even for an online thing, it was really professional, really well done. So shout out to the Plano guys.
Well, good for them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for this. I was glad that they decided to postpone it, that it wasn't like, oh, we're just going to refund everybody and then resubmit.
We're just not going to refund.
Or we're just not going to refund.
There was another one that did that back in 20. We'll keep your money and we'll look at your stuff first next
year. Yeah, we'll prioritize. We'll make sure we look at yours
but thanks for the check.
Yeah.
Thanks for the second stimulus check that you gave.
Yeah, that's crazy that festivals did that.
Oh, I know,
Talk about being real shady. I mean, there's already a lot of comics that they're kind of skeptical of festivals.
Yeah.
And I get it, because a lot of them there are a lot that are just money grabs.
For sure.
Some of them are very expensive to get, to submit to or whatever. But when you have festivals that do shit like that, it doesn't help.
That doesn't help the reputation. It's like, hey guys, this doesn't bode well for your brand.
Yeah.
But they're like, we'll switch our brand. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
we'll just rename next year. Nobody'll know. Pick a weird name.
And I bet you their submissions went down the following year. I bet you less people submitted to that.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't imagine that. I run a festival. I'm on a board for a festival in South Dakota. And during COVID, we did a virtual one too, but we didn't do, I just didn't feel right about having comics submit to be part of a virtual festival. So we just did a best of. So we just reached out to comics that had been on the festival in prior years, and we're like, hey, cool. We're going to do this just so we can stay in the, stay out there.
Yeah.
And, because we're also a nonprofit. We raise money for charities and stuff. So we're just like, we want to still do it. No pressure if you don't want to do a virtual festival, but if you want to be part of it, if you want to volunteer your time, this is when we're going to do it.
Come through.
We did a 3-day virtual festival, and it worked out pretty good.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, we didn't raise nearly as much as we had in the past.
Well,
but,
you don't have people there, but
the fact that we did it, we still raised $1,000 for a charity.
That's good.
On a year when we could have not raised any because we couldn't have done it
doing
anyway.
Anything,
yeah, we could have been totally canceled it altogether for that year and not raised any money. So it ended up working out pretty good for that. But
that's cool. That's awesome. No, I mean, the people that actually went out and did stuff online, I respect that, because it was I know I had a lot. I'm not doing anything. It's well, I go, do you love it as much then? Because I get it's not the same. It's not.
No, it's not the same.
But it's a place.
It's a different.
But it's a place to play. It's a place to come up with new stuff and have fun. So I really respect the folks that kept doing stuff.
I've seen some comics that pretty much started virtually.
Yeah.
And then because they did that and they had so much opportunity for stage time and to work on writing and getting their jokes, like when things did open up, they like excelled.
Yeah.
Like, they like leaped forward.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
The progression, you see a new comic and it could take 3 to 5 years before they really start getting their footing. Some of these comics are getting an extra year or two that they're skipping. They're just like,
well, and not to mention the networking. You know what I mean? The networking that you did during COVID was amazing. I mean, it's like I was like, I'm doing shows in Israel and Czech Republic and California and all this from the East Coast. I'm like, this is awesome, actually. And I'm still meting people that I met online. I mean,
same here. We didn't do a show together, but we did meet online.
Did we? I thought we did something together. Maybe
no,
we did.
I know. I actually reached out to you about doing a show, but you didn't have anything because I was in DC. I was visiting DC.
That's what it was. Okay,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Winston Hodgins actually.
That
put
guy,
me in touch with you.
He's such an asshole. If you don't know Winston, he's the nicest human being on the planet.
It's just a sweetheart.
This is just a joke. That guy hates Winston Hodges? Oh, my God.
I'm going to have to go see who this comic is. What's the deal?
Ooh, hey, that's a good idea. Winston Hodges is terrible. No, that dude is awesome. He's helped me since I started comedy so much. It's been great. So
yeah, he's good people.
Super good.
Again, that was somebody I met online.
Yeah, well, he was tearing it up online for a while, for a long time, and then he just went cold turkey. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Wow,
he's like, because I don't
everything
have
opened
to.
up.
Yeah, it's great. But some of us kept doing it for a while. I mean, heck, I still do once in a while. I still get like a private gig or something like that online.
Yeah, I still
which
do
is
it
weird.
Once in a blue moon. I mean, if I'm going to get paid to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I don't have no problem going up to a room, telling some jokes to some company people, and then shutting my computer and going and then
here we go.
Just being home.
Yeah, cool. I don't have to drive.
I don't have to drive. I don't have to stay in a crappy hotel. I don't have to sleep in my car.
I can sit here and have a beverage and not drive home.
What? Sounds amazing.
It's so good.
But it definitely, it was a good way to fill time, but it's definitely not the same.
No, it's not.
Live comedy
it's
is
the
a
best.
Animal.
It's the best
because it can go really good and it can go really bad.
It can,
and that's what we're going to talk about is how it can go really
right
bad.
on.
So this is a good lead-in to hear your story of a time you bombed.
Oh man,
where you had a really really bad.
There's
show.
so many to choose from. I will say
I hear that
the one I mean, and everybody's like, we talk about it. I actually don't even mind bombing anymore. I'm like, I don't either. It's like whatever. When you first start, you're like, oh my God, I can't. And then you do it a couple times. You're like, man, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about how it's for you as you've evolved in your career. But there's certain situations where, some comics would call it a bomb.
Yeah.
And I look at it as, well, I didn't bomb. I had some goals and I wanted to, especially like at open mics as an example.
Yeah, for sure.
If I go do an open mic in my set, if I bomb, I don't even care because I'm like, well, this is an open mic. I got goals. To me, it's a bomb if I don't achieve the goals that I'm after, whether it be, I'm working on a new joke or a tag or
for sure.
Whatever goal I've set for that open mic, if I don't achieve that, then it's a bomb. Otherwise, I don't care.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree, especially when you're working new stuff and stuff like that. I mean, it's always like that. I think the one that sticks out at me, it wasn't. I don't even know if I called it a bomb. It was just such a weird room, but a buddy of mine, it was right as the pandemic was ending, and it was like one of the first places to open up, and he says, hey man, can you come out to do this show? And it was it was like this smoke-filled room. It was like a pool hall. I'm like, these people had no plan to do comedy ever, or to be there for comedy. Just was thrust upon them. And
the good old hijacked comedy.
It's awesome.
That's what I call it, hijacked comedy.
And I was like, well, and he was just trying to start a room, so he's trying to get this thing. So he invited some people they knew could do a few things, but like I think there were like 5 of us that actually showed up to do something, and I was like, I'm not going to get COVID, but I am going to die of secondhand smoke from this place. But I didn't even know you could smoke anywhere anymore. It was like, it's a club. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get in there and I start doing my jokes. I'm hanging out and nobody's paying attention. Like there was literally nobody except this one dude, Clint. Clint was so drunk. and he could not.
Of course, his name was Clint.
Of course it was. It was great. I even said that at one point.
A smoky bar hall, and of course his name is Clint.
But the best part about it, he didn't stay like where he was, which was like 15 feet away at the bar. He decided he's going to bring his game to me, and he came to the stage. It was like a little 6-inch stage. It was pretty small. It was pretty short to the point, and he just kept. I was like, I was going to do some jokes, and he just kept talking at me, and I was like, all right, fuck, I guess we're going to do this. I guess we're going to talk, me and you. And I go, what's your name? He said, Clint. Of course it is, right? Like he said.
Yeah, of course.
It was. He kept getting closer and closer to where the bar brought out like one of those like those like dividers that they have at the airport, like put the little ribbon and put up between him and me just to remind his drunk ass, you can't go onto the stage.
I mean, not that a cloth divider could stop him, but I guess it's the thought.
I was like, this is horrible. It's like, if this dude comes at me, this is going to be great. But so we talk, and he tells me and the whole room some story about how he put in all the electrical outlets at the White House or something. It was ridiculous. I was like, I don't think that's true, but that's fine. It's DC. It could be. You never know. So it was just a pain in the ass. I'm like, well, I'm not doing any material, so let's play. And it was horrible. It was terrible, but something I'll never forget. But the best part about it, I get off the stage, and a new comic was going up right after me, a friend of mine, and he had just started. He was like 2 months into comedy, and I didn't want this guy jacking with him the whole time because he wasn't going to be able to handle this, right? So I walk over, and I just sat with that guy, Clint. I just put my arm around him. Hey, man, let's talk. And we talked, and because I talked to Germany in the set the part of the set that I got out. And he's like, I'm in Germany, and we start BS, and I was just trying, and he would start to yell something. Like, no, be nice, Clint, you be nice. And I swear to God, at the end of it, he saw me on stage for 12 minutes. I got off stage. We had talked for 10, and then he looks at me and goes, so are you going to get up there? You remember the part where you were a foot from me?
Oh, my
you
God.
Dumbass.
You remember when they thought that they needed to put a security barrier up?
Remember when you were a threat to security in this bar and you were right there with me? You didn't notice me? I was the one in lights with the microphone into my hand.
Oh, my God, that's amazing.
It was great.
Are you going to get up?
You going to get up there tonight? I might think about it.
Oh man! I should have been like, I might be up there a little bit later. I don't know. We haven't decided.
I'm gonna go right for you. You're next, buddy. It's like karaoke comedy. Get up there and tell some jokes, man. It was.
That's pretty much what an open mic is, except we're not doing other people's jokes. Hopefully, we're not doing other people's jokes.
There are a few. Let's name them.
Yeah, there are a few that have done.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, I remember I used to run an open mic in San Diego that had a bit of a reputation for it could be rowdy. You never knew what you were going to get. Yeah. Sometimes it was great. We had a great audience, and we would get comics. Comics loved coming here because sometimes it was great, sometimes it was just crazy.
Yeah,
you never knew what you were going to get. And I remember one time because people would sign up for an open mic, like we're just at the bar. They're like, "Oh, I can be funny. Let me sign up."
This is easy. I've seen this on TV.
Exactly. And as comedians, we're just like, "Yes,
okay."
We can't wait to watch.
You'll never get up again.
Yeah, that's exactly. Every time somebody like that signs up, that's exactly what I think.
That,
and
dude.
Then if they go up and they're actually pretty good, I'm like, well, hopefully you do keep doing it.
Yeah,
because you're not bad. Or I'm like, the bad part of me is like, oh, please don't get up again because there's enough competition.
Yeah, there's enough comics out there.
There's enough competition. We don't need more good people.
I'm gonna have to kidnap you and leave you in a hotel room for.
Yes, I can get your 3 minutes. Damn it!
It was great. Yeah, that's happened so many times, dude. We had this one bartender who used to work at the place I run, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm great. Everybody tells me I should do this. I'm funny. I'm gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. You got to give me some time, Dewayne." I'm like, "All right, let's go." And he got up, and I swear, like a minute and a half into his set, he goes, "I've forgotten everything I wanted to say. This is really hard," and just walked off the stage. I hit him up next week. Hey, you gonna try again? He's like, nope, I'm done. Because
I did it once.
I see how hard it is. I was like,
it's not as easy as I thought.
Yeah. I thought I just got up and talked and made stuff up. I was like, that's the art, bro.
Yeah.
That's all fake.
There's more than just talking. You got
all these little spontaneous moments we have are very planned. Not all, but
some. I mean, for a lot of the time, there's planning.
We know what's going to happen because
exactly.
we've told this joke and people react and they.
Yep, and you know how to respond to them reacting to your joke.
Yeah,
and things
for sure,
like that.
for
Absolutely. Sure. But yeah, like I said, that mic, you never knew what you were going to get. But one time somebody signed up and they get up on stage and they're like, well, I don't have my own jokes, but I'm a big fan of Andrew Dice Clay and I can say him word for word. And he just started doing Andrew Dice Clay jokes. But it was so funny because half the bar at the time was just comics that night.
Oh my God.
So half the comics just like went outside. Yeah. And the other half, just like the people that were still in there, we just all turned our backs.
Do your own shit. Dude,
we didn't even care to like tell him because it's not like it was somebody trying to be a stand-up.
Yeah,
it was just a drunk bar patron.
Yeah, let me tell some street jokes or let me tell somebody else. Right, well, I was at a show. I was at a show recently, and it was a mic associated with the show. Is the whole thing. But this dude gets up on stage, and he was like, "This is a guy that like was." Headlining a show, but then at the mic he goes, "Yell out a comedian, and I'll do some of their material." And all the comics are like. All of us like, no, that you know better than that. That's like, what are you even thinking?
Should have
saying
yelled his name or their name.
Well, I yelled, "Do your own jokes," and I was like, "How about that? We don't need this. That's stupid." And then he did it anyway. But he did. Because nobody told him who. Because we're all comics. It was an open mic, and he's like, and we're all like, "Are you?" All of us are like.
What are you doing? No,
you know better than that. You're breaking the golden rule, man.
Only one time that is acceptable, and that is like on these Halloween shows that you see where they're doing. They're I feel like they're getting more popular around Halloween, where they'll do like shows. It's a theme show
where you dress up as another
comic. As a legendary comic.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
one that had been passed away.
At that point,
the stick.
Right? Yeah, it's not. Yep. Well, and we've actually talked about doing this at my place one of these nights to do like a night where we draw names out of a hat and we got to do that person's material.
Oh, that's really tough.
Like, that would be a lot of fun. I think just get up and be like
another comic.
Yeah, that we know. Like like
I thought you meant like a legend or something.
No. Like one of the people that are regulars at the mic, one of those on like an off night, where it's just like, okay, we're gonna try something just for fun tonight. You know?
Yeah, they used to do that at the something. Well, they didn't draw, but they did that at the La Jolla Comedy Store for Oscar night. They would do that since it was They figured, I suppose it's because they figured they're not sure what they're going to get for people to come to the show because people are watching the Oscars. So they would do a theme show where all the regulars, or the people that work there, they would switch sets with somebody. So they were doing their jokes, and then they would do somebody else's. And so they were basically doing other people's jokes that night. But it was,
but it's planned.
But it's planned. Yeah. Like they have time to get. They have time to get.
It's not like you're taking that to the stage.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it's also local comics. It's not like
you're not,
they're doing each other's jokes. It's not like kind of like what you did, except they weren't drawing on the spot.
No, they would know. They would plan it ahead.
They had a little.
Maybe
we'll
start
notice.
With that.
They had notice with it.
but there are certain folks that like I can do. It's like you've been coming here for a year. I've heard the same 5 minutes. I can do this joke.
Yeah,
let's giddy up.
Right?
Let's go.
Yeah.
No, man. It's.
That's one thing that amazes me. Like I still go to mics now and again. And I know you got to polish your material, but when you see these comics that are just for years and they're doing the same 5 minutes, I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, I don't care. I mean, if you're enjoying yourself, more power to you. It's
good for you. Yeah,
whatever. But
I don't want to turn this into a podcast where we're like, God dang it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Comics
but I'm just
suck.
like,
but sorry,
I'm just
everybody.
like, I as a performer or as an artist, I want to develop and have progress.
Create,
and if I don't have that, like. I couldn't imagine doing the same 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Year after year and never writing anything more than that 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like an hour, it's like you hear stories from the old days where comics would just tour for years on the same 45 minutes, and you're like, I don't think in this day and age you can get away with that.
And some comics would. Multiple comics would tour with the same hour.
Right? Exactly. But what are you gonna do? But thank God for the internet.
Right. That's crazy because that like really, I mean, up until that's how they did it. Up until like the late 70s, early 80s. That's when comedy really kind of started to evolve into like it's your own thing. Because I was reading the history of. What is it? The Comedian History of Comedy.
Yeah.
And I was just like.
most of them old timers were doing like the same jokes.
Yeah.
You know, but just to different, like they were just, because there was no internet or whatever, like they could.
Yeah, they're just
had
whatever.
The same act.
That's crazy.
And that was that way all the way up until like the 70s almost. And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That's nuts, man. Just that idea of, oof, Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Gotta just keep evolving.
So good old Clint.
Yeah.
Clint, if you're out there, I just want you to know I hope you die soon. That's not. I'm sure you're a nice guy. Just drunk Clint is not a cool Clint. And
most drunk people are annoying.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of times, especially at a comedy show.
Oh, man. We want you to be at a perfect level of drunkenness. It's like there's that fine line.
Be loose, but shut up.
So, be loose, but quietly loose.
Be loose.
This is the end of the part where we talk to each other. I love it. Like, I paid my $10. I'm getting into this show. I don't even
Except
know.
I didn't pay. I was just here, and then suddenly there was comedy.
Drunk,
I was like, you can't be mad at me. I was drunk. You started talking at me.
I didn't know what I was doing.
I came here to smoke cigs and play pool.
Came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, man. I love it. That's the worst, I think, is when there's just people don't expect comedy.
Oh,
it's
it absolutely
so
is. Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine that runs a room every Wednesday, and every week he doesn't know how it's going to be because of that. They're in this bar area, and it's like they got regulars in there, and they're like, we don't want to hear these dick jokes.
Yep.
I feel bad,
and
man.
I feel like you see it more for open mics.
Oh, yeah,
like,
for sure.
There are shows that are, like, I've been to plenty, even like booked like paid shows where you show up and nobody has a clue that there's comedy. Like, even the staff are like, "Oh yeah,
oh my god,
comedy
dude!"
Tonight?" Like, and that's when you walk into a place and you ask, "Are you say that you're here for the comedy show?" And they look at you.
We don't
with that
have a
deer in the headlights look.
Show.
Yeah, that you're like, oh no, this is gonna be
that's the best.
An experience.
I'll be in the corner talking to no one. You guys, can I get my check before I go on, please?
Yeah, right. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna need this check now.
Yes,
I'm gonna want to deposit it before I perform. I'm gonna make sure it clears.
Oh shit! Like, this is horrible. Oh, but those are the places that pay you in like drink tickets and fried food, though. So it's
exactly. So you probably already cashed it anyway.
I want as many chicken tenders as I can get and make this worth my while.
That's right. This is bottom. This is gonna be like Red Robin's. I'm getting bottomless chicken fingers. Getting my money's worth.
Oh my god.
Oh, comedy. It's great.
It's so much fun.
Now, when you have a set like that, what are some things that you do to try to, not just like a set like that. Obviously, you knew like in that situation.
Yeah, that one, my material was out the window.
It was more of a situational than material. But when you have a bad set, what are things that you do to try to like look at a joke and figure out what went wrong and how you can improve for next time?
Well, I mean, I always try to at least record the audio.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I listen to it and I think, a lot of us, I think, are really critical of ourselves, especially when we're on stage. If we're not getting roars, we go, man, that joke didn't hit at all. But then sometimes I'll listen back and go, oh, there was laughter there. It wasn't what I thought it would be. So I got to tweak this, maybe tweak a word, maybe do whatever.
Well, I think that's one thing with that's important is for when we record, a lot of comics bring their phone up with them to record, which I get, but you almost want to leave your phone in the back.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. I try to leave my phone like somewhere close to the audience because you're right. Sometimes when you're on stage, especially if they have like monitors, you can't, all you can hear is you. You can't hear the audience, so you don't know how they're responding.
Yeah, unless it's a really big pop. You don't hear it all the time. So it's like, oh, let me go back and listen to that. And I got that from a buddy of mine. Because he'd tried some new jokes actually at my place. And he's like, he got off stage. He's like, this sucks. And then he called me the next day. He's like, actually, dude, they were laughing. I was like, yeah, I told you that. Like, I know. Yeah. And I mean, I think honestly, if it's really bad, if it's just like this joke doesn't work at all, I mean, honestly, I'm usually kind of relieved to be like, okay, I'm throwing this one out. Or it's like, okay, what am I doing wrong with this? Or, what angle am I taking that doesn't work?
How long do you give a joke before you decide that it's just not going to work and you throw it out?
Man, if I really like it and think it's going to be good, I'll do it 4 or 5 times and, and be like, okay, this sucks. That's not going to work. And then maybe later I'll bring it up. The good thing about comedy is like it's stuck in your brain then. So maybe 6 months from now you go, oh, that's the way I need to go at it. So it's in your brain and it's
like
it's
putting
good.
A puzzle together sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's exactly like that. Yeah. It's like I talk.
Sometimes you just don't have the right piece.
Yeah, you're like, it's like I look at it like a word, like a puzzle of some kind. You're just like, what is that? And it's like, oh, all of a sudden it pops in your brain. And you're like, that's exactly it. So I would say like 4 or 5, but usually it's it's still there, and I'll try something later with it. I can usually tell if it's at least going to be something after 2 or 3 times. I'm like, okay, this has legs. I just gotta tweak it and play with it and take it to some friends. I mean, I have a great group of friends out in DC that we get together to write together and kind of tweak each other's jokes and stuff like that. I
think that can definitely helpful.
It's so huge, man. Everybody thinks it's just that comedy is like an individual thing. You just sit in your room, you write some great things, and all of a sudden you take it to the stage and it's brilliant. But because I have jokes that I'm still ringing out tags because of my friends. We'll sit around and BS about the joke and stuff like that, or they know the joke, and all of a sudden I'll get a text out of nowhere. Hey, I thought of this tag with this for that joke that you do. I was like, oh, that's awesome, thanks. And I just keep playing with it, playing with it on stage, and because a lot of times my best tags just come out of stuff that comes out of my mouth when I'm up there messing around with a joke or telling it, it's a hot room and I'll think of something. I'm like, oh, that's got to go in there from now on. We all have felt that, right? I
feel like some of the best tags sometimes come from that spontaneity where you're not expecting to say something and then you do. Yeah. And you're like, as soon as you say it and you hear golden. The crowd, you're like, oh yeah, I got to make sure that stays
That's there forever. That's
now part of this joke.
Yeah. And the good, like I said, and if it's in, I think sometimes it's, we talk about, we were joking earlier about how the spontaneity isn't real, but there is usually some.
There is.
I was joking about that, but there is, and when those happen, because you're just getting that zone when it's going well, and you're like, oh, just things come out that you're like, I never would have thought of that. Like if I sat down and wrote this out, it probably wouldn't have happened, but I was standing in front of an audience and did that. As a matter of fact, I have a video on TikTok now. It's going pretty good, but it's from a show a while back, and I never even I found out this dude in the front row was a special needs teacher, and I just go, "Oh, are you a special needs teacher?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's awesome." Like real special needs, or like I have a peanut allergy, like that, and and I never would have thought of that. It just came into mind, and it's like it's one of the greatest things. Now, I can't wait for another special needs teacher to be in my show,
just for that,
just for that bit.
Now you're gonna start having a plant. You're just gonna have that teacher go with you to all the shows now.
Hey, bro!
I told you it wasn't spontaneous. Well, there's no spontaneity. I just bring my own
plant. The best part about it was he was laughing so hard. I was hosting that night. He was laughing so hard. He was hit. I see his little bald head bouncing the whole time because it was super dark in the room, and it bouncing, and his glasses fell off and stuff. And he was actually sitting with a friend of mine, and they texted me, "He's a special needs teacher, just FYI." And I'm like, "Well, that's a weird thing to say, but okay, cool. I'm gonna jack with that." It's like, are you telling me he's special needs? Like, what do you mean? Like that would make sense to text me. It didn't make sense the other way, but it's ridiculous. But that's man. Amazing. So
those shows like that are so great when something like that happens.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like you said, you can then keep it in your act, like it becomes part of the joke. Now, in a situation where you're telling a joke and it doesn't land, or you feel like you're starting to lose the audience, that moment when you're like, uh-oh, we're about to go down that hill we don't want to go. In that moment, what goes through your mind?
Oh my God, 1,000 things. I think that's the worst time when you're like, you see it leaving and you're like, no, I got to get it back somehow. And I think it makes you so much worse because you're like grabbing. It's like you're just throwing everything.
Yeah, there's like
you're flailing,
a little bit of panic.
In the pool.
Like there's so many different. It's like there's a little bit of panic. There's a little bit of you go into like. For me, at least, I go sometimes into like the hyper hypersensitivity mode where like my senses suddenly get super hyperactive, and I'm like trying to figure, like I'm just, it's like a superpower almost. Where I'm just
it's the opposite of a superpower.
I mean,
it's super crippling is what it is. It's funny because everybody has their tells. That's what I'm learning. Like everybody has their tells. Like I've learned if I'm like going on stage, I'm like, it's fine. I'll say that. And I'm like, that's when I know I'm going to
funny. Shit. It's funny that you say that because I have a tell too. And my tell is that if I start swearing more, that's when you know that I don't feel like I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm struggling, and then I start swearing more.
Yeah.
And that's something I've noticed. I'm aware of
it's just
too.
like a junior high boy. You're not comfortable in your own skin, so it's like, fuck. Okay. That's true. But everybody has it. Like, I know people that like pop their lips, and do different things. It's so funny to watch now that their tell, and it's like, okay, they're eating a dick. Okay,
and that's when then you're like, now I got to pay attention.
Now I'm watching for some stuff.
I'm gonna watch the rest of this show now.
I'm into this
because we're evil and we hate
we're terrible. We're terrible
colleagues.
People.
We love our colleagues, but we love more to watch them bomb.
To my God, that's not totally true. I do. I love to watch people do well. I love to watch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If they're not a dick, if they're assholes, I love to. I'm like, oh yeah, you did great. You did great. Yeah, you should keep doing it. But it's so funny, man. It's definitely different.
But I think it's a good time to watch that. But
I try to have like somewhere I can go with it, or sometimes just acknowledge like, look, we're gonna get through this together, y'all. It's gonna be okay. We'll be fine, and then crack them open, But that's a tough one when you start to lose them. That's a hard feeling. Man.
Oh, absolutely,
such a tough feeling.
That's why I'm always curious about it, because it's like you see some comics. I mean, sometimes you lost. You just got to go push forward. There's nothing you can do. But I've seen comics, get to a certain spot where they're, they've lost the audience, but then they get them back, and it's amazing. It's amazing to watch.
That is
amazing
the best.
To watch.
When you can, if you lose them and can get them back, that's the best.
Mastery. But in that moment, it just fascinates me what people like think about, because I know, like for me, again, my senses get heightened, and I'm like in my head, like I'm not. It's almost like an out of body experience. That's what it really is, because it's like, okay, I'm doing horrible. I need to figure out what I can do. That joke didn't work, and if that joke didn't work, then these jokes probably won't work. So now how do I deviate to go, to a different way? And this is all just in a matter of like a split second.
It's like you have these conversations with yourself.
Yeah,
it'd be like, wait, did I say that one joke? Did I do that? Oh, because that's a setup for. Oh man, did I mess that? I remember the very first night I ever went on stage. It was I had a joke that I was going to end the 5 on. Everything was going to be, it was a callback to earlier. And then I realized about 3 minutes in, I didn't do the joke that I had to call back to. And now I'm like, whatever, I'll freaking find it. And it's something that it's a joke that even today I tell it and I struggle with, did I say it? Because it's fucked up if I don't. And I was just like, it got so in my head. I was like, fuck, what? And of course I attribute, I was like, well, I drank 1 beer before I went up. I'm never drinking again before I go on stage.
I was laughing really hard at that because right before you said that, I was literally, a thought in my head that I wanted to bring up was I was going to say one of my favorite moments, and I hate, it's one of them things that happens to me more than I'd like to admit, and that one of my favorite things is when that happens, because it is really funny. When you go to tell a joke that has a callback, you forgot to tell the first part to the callback. But it was literally in my head as you said that right now.
Oh my God.
That's why I laughed so hard when you said
hilarious,
that. That's crazy.
Well, it's fun. Now it's a joke that I tell that I add to, because it's like I do a thing where, because my wife is German, I do a thing about her. You have to bring home a wife for a cuckoo clock when you're in the army, and yada yada yada. And I was like, that's great, because you can't have sex with a clock, and I do that whole thing, right? And So but it happened that night, but it happened a couple times where I'm like, I was like, I just leave it out and I skip that bit, and then I'd be like, can't have sex with a clock. Oh, and I didn't set it up with like, you gotta bring home a wife or a cuckoo clock.
And so it's just like now a rat. They're like,
but this is what the joke is like, and it's true. Not that night, but another night, they're like, everybody still laughed. They're like, ha ha ha. I'm like, because I didn't even know until I got off stage, and somebody's like, dude, you left the whole thing out. I was like, get out of here, did I? He's like, yeah, totally. And I was. And so now I'm like, now, you know, I tell it like that. One time I left that part out, but I still went, kid, and everybody laughed. And I was like, it was like, you know, as a dude or as a comedian, it was great because I was like, obviously I had rhythm. People were with me. They didn't care. But as a dude, I'm like, am I giving off like a clock molester vibe?
Yeah,
like,
right. Like, this is a bad vibe.
These people are like, yeah, you would fuck a clock. I can see that. Like, totally.
I did that a couple times with a joke that I did. And then I got to the point where if I forgot the call, what I was supposed to do, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm just going to go into that now. And then I would like bounce out of the story that I was about to tell, do the circle back, do what I needed to do.
Yep.
Then I would come back and jump back into that story. So I would like put it as like a story within that story.
Yeah.
And that way the callback would work. I've
Yeah.
done that a few
I've done
times.
that a couple times too.
And it's worked.
Yeah.
Still doesn't work as good as it does when you tell the
But
joke
you feel
when
like
you're
you
supposed
escaped death. You
Yes.
feel like
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
I pulled the
Yeah.
reserve chute. It worked out. I'm still alive to do
Because
this joke again.
You as soon as I was about to say the joke, I remembered I didn't do the setup.
God,
so I'm
that's
like,
a feeling.
oh, thank God,
That's
I can
the
still go
worst,
back.
man.
The worst is after you tell the joke and then you're like, oh yeah, I didn't do the first.
That would have been
part.
funny had I told this other bit. And there's some people that can do really well with like I've seen dudes that go like, hey, you know, I was supposed to tell you this joke, but let's reverse this joke, and they go backwards. I've seen that, and that's genius if they can do that.
Hilarious.
It's and sometimes that works really well. But
Oh, man,
I don't.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like
What's your writing process like? Are you more of a write on stage, or do you have to like sit down and write, or
Every comic is like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, some are very disciplined.
Some are super
not.
disciplined. And I was for a while. I was doing pretty good for a while. And here's what I try to do. Doesn't always happen, but what I try to do is get up, because all my good ideas come first thing in the morning, like very first thing in the morning. So what I try to do is get up and I started typing original stuff, like, you know, the first bit out, because I can type I can type faster than I can write. I think too fast to write.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that, but I can type faster. All those great classes in high school finally paid off. But, you know, I get a good idea, and then I kind of print it out, and then I'll just kind of play with it and edit it. You know, get it to the point where at least I got a solid premise and take it on stage. You know, and play with it at some open mics and or squeeze it in, you know, somewhere. But it's funny because a lot of the jokes, I think they're, you know, I'll do it and it's like, oh, it's good, and then I'll try it again like a month or so later. I'm like, this joke sucks ass. And then I don't necessarily go back to the drawing board, but again, I said it's always in my head, you know. So I'll be in the shower and be like, oh, that's how I go with this joke, you know. And you know what's fun is when recently it happened. I had some jokes, you know, some military jokes, and I was like, I couldn't figure out how to do this, and then finally I was like, wait, if I do this it was a little shit that I was doing in between comics. I was like, if I do this joke and then this is a whole 5 now. This goes together. This makes sense. And here's the through line. I was like, sweet. Yeah. So, I mean, I try to write it out. I mean, I can't like, you know, I see people just like constantly scribbling in books, and I'll do that. Like when I'm at lunch or something like that, I'll like write out, like, you know, I had some ideas from the airplane ride here, which sucked ass. It was so bad. I was afraid I was going to get kicked off a plane. But
no!
No, it was a whole thing. But it's just that all I did was curse. The guy's, you know, because the guy took my backpack out of the top, and I'm like, all right, so now I got to put that shit at my feet because I can pack a bag, like because I wasn't too cheap to pay $30 to get a bag. Screw you! I want my feet. And and I said, no, I got to fucking put it by my feet. And this dude started just going off on me. I was like, oh shit! I know this ends with me. This ends with me on YouTube. That's how this ends. I'm like, okay, and I just sat down. But so I was right. You know, at lunch I'll be like, okay, this is it. And I just kind of write little bullets to kind of get my story out and figure out where I'm going to go with it, and then just tweak it, man. Just constantly tweaking it, constantly thinking about it. That's the curse of a comedian mind is we're always working on something in our brain.
That's one of the reasons I like driving when I'm going to place, because I just, just sit in my car. I'll have podcasts and music or whatever going, but like a lot of times I end up tuning that out. I'm just in my brain. I'm just like, oh, jokes. I'm just like tinker.
It's a beautiful thing. You can always be doing it, but it's also a curse because you can always be doing it. It's impossible. You're like, we're going to go on a family vacation and not do anything. And then something will happen. I'll pull up my phone. My wife's like, oh, you got a joke idea, huh? I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, man, completely.
It's best when they just say something dumb and then you pull it out and go. They're like, are you making that into a joke? I certainly am. I absolutely.
I mean, why would you even ask? You know.
You know. I refer to my family as content creators.
Free content
creators.
I mean, I'm paying for it in other ways, but
mentally and financially, but I am paying for it.
That's funny.
Soon, I'm going to be an empty nester. God, I can't wait.
You're like getting close.
I'm so close. I'm so close. If they move back in, I'll kill them.
We'll get wrapped up here. So, what's one of your favorite shows that you've done?
Man,
you've done. Seems like you're doing a lot.
I am doing a lot.
Military.
I do a lot of military shows. I teach a class for vets and family members as well to get them into comedy, which is amazing to watch. It's so much fun. But honestly, I think one of my favorite shows is I was just at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida, and first of all, it's Florida, so it's weird anyway, right? But it was me, Josh Blue, from America's Got Talent, the dude with cerebral palsy, and then
Last Comix Standing
winner. Yes, yeah, he's awesome and a super cool dude, just fun to hang out with. He's nuts, but he
seems like it.
He's fun, but he is crazy. Anyway, it's him, me, and then this other veteran who's a triple amputee. And so he got blown up in Iraq, and the three of us just hang out for a week. At our last show we did at Tyndall, on this leg of the tour, it was just phenomenal. The crowd was into it from the second. I was the first comic up that night, and because me and the other guys switch off, and dude, from the it's one of those nights where you walk out and you just tell them hi and they start laughing and you're like, this is gonna be good. Yep. This is gonna be so good. But then the best part about it is we do like a Q&A after every show now, and so the three of us are on stage and just basically not answering any questions at all. People get up and they're like, because they ask questions and we just bullshit back at them. Yep. And and after 3 or 4 days on the road, by then we've gotten into our groove and we're just having fun, and we know where each other is going to go with it, or we can kind of tell, and we can set people up for other stuff, and you can just kind of like, hey, here's one, and Josh will hit it or Adam will hit it out, and it was just one of those nights. I mean, it was great. It's a huge room, great time. People just came to laugh and have a good time, which was great because the day before that we did one at another base down there that was they were not ready to laugh. It was the middle of the so maybe that was it. Maybe it was coming off of a really shitty set and going into that. But it was such a good show. They were such a good crowd and just a lot of fun. And the military crowds, honestly, in general, are a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
I love.
I've done some military shows when I was out in California. I did some stuff.
They can get a little rowdy, and like I do a lot of VFW shows too, and they can get a little bit rowdy, but as soon as you get up there and start talking about this stuff, especially me as a military vet, so those guys, I mean, it's easy to identify with, so it's an easy crowd. I can do one sentence and it sends them to another place, and it's so much fun. And when you have people coming up after the show, just be like, oh my gosh, dude, I was at such and such and such and such, and I remember this, and it's just a great time, so I do like the military shows, I don't obviously do just that, but I really enjoy those. And
I have a friend, my buddy Will C. He's got the Veterans of Comedy brand, and they do a lot of stuff, so
awesome.
I've seen quite a few like military shows, but I've been on some, not any of those, but I've done because when I lived in San Diego, there were shows out at like the Marine training facility. Yeah. We did shows out there. There was some shows up along the coast.
Marines are great because they laugh at anything. You can just
sometimes they're not so great. Let's back the bus up.
Do we have a bad experience?
They were a little rowdy. Yeah, they're just a little rowdy.
It can be.
Yeah, they weren't.
You just got to start using big words and confuse them, man. It's fine. It's great.
They wanted to have a good time. They just didn't know that having a good time meant shutting up and listening.
Shut the fuck up and listen. Your job is to laugh, not to tell the jokes, Marine.
Exactly. It's like, let us do
That's funny.
But it was amazing because I saw one of the most amazing things at that particular show, which I saw another comic, Trenton Davis, who's a fantastic comic. He went up there and he just, in a way that it was amazing to watch because he basically scolded them, but not in a mean way. Like he just sat down like a teacher and he just started talking to him. And he was like, "You guys are a terrible audience." And he like just like totally teachered him.
Yeah.
But then he like basically, and I thought, oh man, they're gonna be pissed because he just told them
military
they suck.
people want to be told they suck. It's a weird thing.
He just like told them why and broke it down, and then he then went into his act and crushed.
That's so.
It was
good.
amazing.
Oh
it was
my
one of the
God.
most amazing things I've ever seen at a live comedy show.
That's awesome. Well, military people in general, they just want to be told what they did wrong and fix it. That's it. It's a weird thing. I used to teach.
I could see that now. I could see that. That makes sense.
When I was in the Army, I taught up at West Point for a while, and I remember one day the students were just like they sucked. They just did terrible. I walked in, I was like, "You guys are supposed to be the smartest people around. Like, you earned a spot here because you're smart and good at things, and you sucked at this test." I was like, but nobody got mad. They're just like, "No, I do suck. You're right. I'll fix it. I'll get better. I will suck next time. I promise."
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know. I guess we're just used to being told that shit. Like, don't sugarcoat it. Don't be like,
just put it right up there. Well, I'm gonna remember that next time I'm performing. If it's going,
just stop and go. Let's do an after action review right now. What could you do better as an audience? Let's talk about. I'm doing my job. I don't know. You need to do yours now. Let's talk.
This is a team effort.
There's a main effort. It's just me because I'm on stage with a microphone, and there's a supporting effort, and you have to laugh in order for me to do my job. That's how this. You need to, 1, shut the fuck up. 2, you need to laugh when you're not shutting up. Those are the only acceptable noises coming out of your mouth hole for the next 25, 30 minutes.
That's amazing. I'm going to try it. If I get murdered, that's on you.
It's on me. It's on me. It's on me.
Last question I like to ask. We have the Art of Bombing playlist to get pumped. Doesn't have to be a song that gets you pumped for comedy per se, but just in general. What's a song you'd like added to the Art of Bombing playlist?
The Art of... God damn. I'm so embarrassed by this. So, did you talk to my friends? I wish I would have listened to your podcast. This is no bullshit. Before I go up, I'll put my headphones in and I listen to this. God damn it! I'm gonna say some. I listen to the Pandora Kesha channel.
Okay, so you listen to Kesha
and all the other female artists and shit. It's so embarrassing. That's what I do. I'm like, because it gets me in a good mood.
Which Kesha song gets you going?
God, oh fuck! This is so. I don't want to tell the truth.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. I love that song "Woman," where it's like, "You're a mother, I'm a motherfucking woman." I don't know why I like it.
That's amazing.
I guess because it gets my wife and daughter pumped up. They listen to it, so I listen.
Oh, that's so great.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I do, but I listen to I like shitty chick rock, if that makes sense.
I mean, you're not wrong
because it puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not wrong. You definitely put.
I don't want to get mad. Like, I can't listen to people that listen to death metal and shit before they go. I'm like, this might not be what you want. No, you suck. Okay, cool. This is great. But I just want something that doesn't make. I don't have to think about a lot of stuff. But I like chick rock. If I was gonna put a song on the playlist that was not a shitty song, I would do "Zombie" by the Cranberries, though.
Okay,
I think it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I might do both. I might put them both. The shittier of the two is definitely going on.
Well, that's the catcher one.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's definitely going on because that's amazing.
Any of the new rock songs by Miley, she's awesome. Miley, if you're listening, your teeth are fucked up, but I love you.
Love it. Where can people find you online? Where do you want to direct people to go?
You can check me out on all the socials and at White Dewayne Comedy, DEWAYNE, and then whitedewayncomedy.com. So
perfect. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me in your awesome hotel room studio.
I'm about to get me a spot tonight.
Hey, I don't like that.
Thank you for listening to the Art of Bombing podcast, hosted and produced by Dan Bublitz Jr. and Josh Shirley for Blitzed Entertainment. Nobody Had a Podcast called The Art of Bombing was written and performed by John Holt. The stand-up soundbite bumper was provided by Joe Nicola Music. Be sure to follow and subscribe to The Art of Bombing wherever you get podcasts. You can connect with us on the web at artofbombingpod.com or on all social media platforms at Art of Bombing Pod.